Okay, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Thank you for coming. Another installment of SNH. And tonight, we'll talk about Friday. I know it is Saturday, but Friday is very special to us Muslims. So we want to talk about the day, what it means, and what are things we do, obviously including the Friday prayer, but other things as well. So why is it so special to us, the Friday, the day of Friday? We know, for example, other people have Sunday or Saturday, right? And unfortunately, we don't have a day off on Friday, right? So you still have to go to school or work. Still, it is very special to us Muslims. So as usual, we'll have one ayah, one hadith. It'll be on the quiz, so make sure you pay attention. Try and see if you could remember it in Arabic. If not, at least know the meaning in English. If you're still talking, you're disturbing me. Thank you. Don't talk, please. All right, so first we'll go through the ayah. There's one ayah in the Quran that talks about Friday. And it's part of a surah that is called Friday. Or in Arabic, what is the Arabic meaning of Friday? Jumu'ah, very good. And all of you should know that. Some people say Jumu'ah. It's more eloquent to say Jumu'ah. Jumu'ah. Has a flow to it. Jumu'ah, right? So, one ayah in the Quran that tells us about Friday. It's in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, ayah number 9. Okay, so the ayah says in Arabic, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, that's easy, right? O you who believe, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ. If the call to prayer was made on the day of Friday, then فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, you come to the remembrance of Allah, the remembrance of God, and وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعِ, you leave your business, your trade. No matter how important, you leave it. So if you have work, you leave work. If you have your own business, you should leave it, unless you're gonna lose all of it or something like that. But you have to take all of the precautions in order to make it and not miss the Friday prayer. You guys are still talking. I don't know why. I'm gonna pick one of you. Can you go over there? One of you, because you're talking together, right? Thank you. You're banished to the other side. Right? Okay, so let me actually do a show of hands. How many of you, and that's totally fine, don't feel shy. How many of you are able to make it to Friday, like to pray Jummah in the masjid? Oh wow, I did not expect that many hands, because, so you're in school, how do you take off? What do you do?
After Paragon.
Is it usually, oh, because most of you are from Paragon. Thanks, Paragon. What a blessing, right? Okay, good. Okay, so basically the ayah is telling us, drop everything and come and attend the Friday prayer. And this one thing we learn here is that you don't really have to take the whole day off. So some people think of Friday as a holiday. It's not really a holiday like, people think of Sunday as a Christian holiday, for example. We don't need to do that, Muslims, right? Likewise, the Jewish people on Saturday, it's like a Sabbath, right? So you're not supposed to drive cars or do something. We don't have those things. All you have to do on Friday is show up and pray. In fact, the Quran itself says that after the prayer is over, you can go back to your business. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. As soon as the prayer is over, you can just spread in the earth and do whatever you want. You can work, you can go to school, whatever. So that is an important distinction between how we view our special day and how other people view their special day. So that is the ayah again, I'll repeat it. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع. You all got it right. And the English meaning, O you who believe, if the call to prayer is made on Friday, you come to the mention of Allah and you drop everything else. You drop your trade or whatever, business, school, whatever. If you can. I mean, school I know is a bit different, but basically you drop everything if you can. Okay? So that's all it is. That's what the Quran says about Friday. Now let us cover the hadith as well. There's one hadith I'll share with you, and again, it'll be on the quiz. So see how much you can remember. All right? And if you cannot remember the Arabic, you always have the English option. Okay. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, told us, خير يوم طلعت عليه الشمس يوم الجمعة. The best day of the week is Friday. All right? And it says it's the best day that the sun rises upon, just to emphasize. But it is basically the best day of the week. I know some people wait for the weekend and they look to Saturday and Sunday as the best of the week, obviously because they don't have to go to school and maybe they don't have to do homework. Some of you have to, and maybe they don't have to work. But for us, the best day of the week is what? Friday. Or Jumu'ah. Thank you. And the Prophet tells us why. So he gives us like 3 reasons why Friday is the best day of the week. So he said, فِيهِ خُلِقَ آدَمْ. It is the day on which Adam was created. وَفِيهِ أُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةِ. It is also the day on which Adam was allowed into Jannah, because we know he lived in Jannah, in paradise, for a while. وَفِيهِ أُخْرِجَ مِنْهَا. Also it's the day that he was let go from Jannah, from paradise. We know after he ate from the tree, he was basically let go. And وَلَا تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ إِلَّا فِي يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ. Also, the day of judgment will happen when? Friday. All right? It's happening or will happen on the day of Jumu'ah. That's it. So these are the ayah and the hadith, and that's what you have to remember and hopefully memorize. So basically, I want to share with you some recommendations. What can we do to make the day better, to take advantage of that day, and to maybe, inshallah, increase our hasanat, our rewards on that day. Since you are, able to come to the masjid, that's really the major event on that day. There are other things we can do, but the major event for you is coming to the masjid. And maybe some of that you can also negotiate with your parents. And we'll talk about that. What are the things you can do in the house before you come to the masjid? Okay? So first, it is highly recommended that you take a shower. Now in Islam, we have something called ghusl. We'll take questions at the end. Ghusl is like, you can think of it as a sacred shower. Like it's a shower you take for a religious purpose. So it's not like any old shower, it's a specific or a special shower. It's called ghusl. And basically ghusl is nothing but, you pour water on your whole body. You don't have to use soap. You can if you like, but you don't have to. But the fact that you make sure every part of your body is washed, this is ghusl. So you don't let any part not wash. Everything has to be washed. And that is the definition of ghusl. We can call it a sacred shower if you like. Please don't leave if you don't have a reason. We don't want to lose anybody. All right. So that is highly recommended on Friday, especially if you don't smell good. Unfortunately, some people come to the masjid and they don't have the best smell on. And that is obviously offensive to everybody around you. All right? So you want to be in the best shape possible. So it's highly, highly recommended. Some scholars say it is wajib, like it is mandatory, but it is highly, highly recommended. Also put on some really nice clothing. The Prophet, peace be upon him, used to have a special garment just for Friday. A special attire for Friday. You can have one too. You can designate one attire just for Friday. Also wearing cologne. is highly recommended. And it doesn't matter, you can have itar, this, musk or anything of that sort, but you can also have regular cologne. As long as you smell good, that's great. All right? Also, come in early. We have a big problem that people come even after the imam started the speech, the sermon, the khutbah. That's totally unacceptable. And I've looked at many masajid. I mean, alhamdulillah, I've given khutbahs in many masajid. What I always notice is that when I start, there's only one line in the beginning. And by the time I'm like in the middle of the khutbah, now half the masjid is full. And by the time I'm done, the full masjid, I mean, mashallah, you have a full masjid of people. What's happening, people are coming and they're trickling in as the khutbah is progressing. And some of them miss like 1/3 of the khutbah, some people miss 1/2 of the khutbah, some people don't make any part of the khutbah. They come at the end, they barely pray, or they catch maybe the first rak'ah, the second rak'ah. That is not good. In fact, the Prophet told us, ﷺ, that there's an angel with a book, a record, basically recording the names of the people who come early. And they keep recording the people who walk into the masjid until the imam is on the pulpit. Once the imam starts the khutbah, what happens? That angel closes the book. It's like, if you come in late to school, right? You're recorded as absent or tardy. You're tardy. If you come to the masjid after the imam started the khutbah, you're a tardy. You're considered absent. You're not on that book. You're not on that record. The malaika, the angels will not record your name. So coming early is very important. All right? And you say, well, but I come with my parents and they're late. Maybe remind them. Remind them, I mean, it'd be really nice if you were reminding them to come early. And I'm sure they'll be really surprised that you're telling them to be early. But that's good. Why not? Encourage them to come early and not miss any part of the khutbah. People say, well, if I come early, what do I do? Do I just sit idle? Do I play with my game, my phone? No. In fact, speaking of rak'ahs, you can pray as many as you want. And that is the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him. If you come early, you can pray 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, however many you want. Until the imam starts. You can pray as many rak'ah as you want. All right? So I hope you remember all of these because they'll be on the quiz. I mentioned about 5 things that are highly recommended or they're recommended for Friday. There's certain things that are forbidden or prohibited. We also should be mindful of those. Number 1, and this is so common. Let's say you come, you're a bit late. You're already, violating one rule, but you come late, and now you want to sit in the front. So what do? You come and you start like making your way. It's like, opening the space. But what happens, you start stepping over people. And the Prophet ﷺ told us, do not do that. You're not supposed to separate 2 people. So if 2 people are sitting close to each other, you're not supposed to separate them or doing this to people. You're pushing them over. You don't deserve to be sitting in the front. You came late, you sit where you arrive. But don't go and step over people, step over their necks. Some people they come in so late and they walk all over, over people, all the way to the front. You don't belong here. You should have come early if you want to sit in the front, all right? If you come late, you sit wherever is available. But don't step over people's necks and shoulders and try and push them around. Don't do that, okay? Because this is not allowed. It's prohibited. Another big violation is people talking during the khutbah. This is absolutely forbidden, and in fact, it could invalidate your prayer. It's as if you did not pray. That's the one thing that could totally invalidate your prayer, which is talking. And I thought people were following this rule until one time I came late. I was late too, and I'm always violating. But I had a special case. I was sitting in the back and I was appalled by the fact that I don't want to say the majority, many people, some of them were on the phone, like just playing on the phone, or maybe looking at some social media. Others were having like a full conversation while the imam is talking, like while the khutbah is happening, they're just having these side conversations. And not one, not two, many people. And I wasn't sure, like, was it because people did not know? Maybe. Or they just don't follow the rule. I don't know why. But people don't realize that this can invalidate your salah. Like the entire effort you put in to come to the masjid and listen to khutbah and pray, all of that could be gone. So please be careful, do not talk. You know, they say to a point that if somebody said salam to you, in any other case, you have to say wa alaikum assalam. You have to reply. Anywhere else, if somebody said assalamu alaikum, them saying assalamu alaikum is sunnah, but you replying is fard. Like you have to say wa alaikum assalam. It's totally wrong if somebody said assalamu alaikum not to reply. I don't care if you like them, you hate them, I don't care. You have to say wa alaikum assalam. Except on Friday when the khutbah is going on. If they say assalamu alaikum, they probably don't know. You don't say wa alaikum assalam. It's totally fine. Okay? And maybe after the salat, you can tell them why. You can tell them, apologize, I did not mean to be rude, but we're not supposed to speak while the khutbah is going on. So that way they won't be upset with you. But no talking, and don't play with games or anything. The Prophet ﷺ said, even if you have any pebble on the ground, like back then they used to pray on the ground, like the actual ground, not the carpet. All right. So he said, if there are any like pebbles or rocks on the ground, and you start playing with them, this is not good either, because it means your mind is not focused on the speech. You're just playing with anything in front of you, right? All right, so these are the prohibitions. Basically, you do not separate people as you walk in. You don't step over people. Also, you don't talk and you don't play with anything. Basically, just focus. Usually the khutbah is what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Just focus on the message, on the speech. All right. Okay, let's also talk about a couple of rules regarding the prayer itself. Now we know the prayer of Friday is a loud prayer, so you listen to the imam as they recite, the surah, But there are cases that we have to understand. What if you came a bit late? So you came for sometimes you do have a good reason, right? Like maybe you couldn't get out of school on time, or your job wouldn't let you go on time. So obviously there are cases where it is okay to be late because it wasn't you or your laziness. No, it was that you had a legitimate reason. So that's obviously possible. If you come late and you miss one rak'ah, all you have to do is, after the imam is done, you complete another rak'ah, right? So you do another rak'ah, that is total of 2. So you're good. What happens, and that's important, what happens if you come after the second rak'ah, like after the imam got up from the second ruku'? You get it? You get what I'm saying? Like the second ruku', once he's up, now officially you've missed 2 rak'ah, because you have to make the ruku' with the imam. Now it's as if you missed 2 rak'ah. And the Friday prayer is 2 rak'ah. Now it doesn't mean that you've missed the salat because you still caught up with the imam. Like he didn't say salam yet, right? But in that case, it's as if you missed the Jumu'ah prayer. So you continue as a dhuhr, which means you have to pray 4 now instead of 2. So let me say this again because it could be confusing. If you came late and you only missed 1 rak'ah, how many do you pray? 1 more, so total is 2. Because you caught 1 rak'ah, so you're only missing 1. So you pray 1 to make it 2. If you miss 2, which usually happens if you come after the second ruku', so the imam got up from the ruku', he's still going to do sujood twice and all of that, but to you, you missed 2. So now when the imam says salam, you have to pray how many? 4. Very good. And I hope you understand why. Because in a way, you've basically missed the Friday, so now it turns into dhuhr. It turns into a regular noon prayer like the other afternoon prayers. So that is something that people sometimes might be confused about, so I thought I would, clear it up. All right. So what I'm going to do now, inshallah, and this is maybe the last segment of today's halaqah. What I'll do is I'm going to run over some of the etiquettes of the khutbah itself. Now I know you don't give a khutbah. Maybe in the future you will. I hope you will. And we need obviously some young khatibs because we're going to die. We're going to get old and die. So we need other people to give the khutbahs. So I want to run over some of these, conditions and process, and just to get you an idea of what the Jumu'ah is. So as we know, the Friday speech is two speeches, right? 2 khutbahs. So it's made of 2 khutbahs. In between, the imam sits, and you don't say anything in between. The khutbah itself has to be made of certain things, like you have to mention Allah. You have to say Alhamdulillah in the beginning, in any form. You have to say Salat on the Prophet, alayhi salam. An entire khutbah, you have to mention at least 1 ayah. Like you have to recite 1 ayah in Arabic. Everything else can be in English. Now I know some masjids, what they do, they require that the entire khutbah be in Arabic. I don't follow that opinion. Because the purpose of the khutbah is to deliver a message to people, so people can understand the message. If you're sitting there, you don't understand a thing, well, you kind of like defeated the purpose. So it's totally fine for the khutbah to be in English, but at least 1 verse has to be recited in Arabic. The process is very simple. The imam comes, the imam can come right on time. He doesn't have to be early like you. It's a special case. The imam can come and he doesn't have to pray. He can immediately go to the minbar. I mean, he should not be late, obviously, but he doesn't have to be early. So he ascends the minbar, the pulpit, right? And he says salam to everybody, and you supposed to reply. And you say wa alaikum salam. So everybody should be part of that, should participate in that. And then someone will make the adhan, right? And the imam is sitting waiting until the adhan is over. And then the imam starts the sermon, the speech, the khutbah. And then he sits in between, as we know, and then he gives the second khutbah. I think that's all I want to mention. I mean, there are other rules and stuff, but I think that's the most relevant part. So I think this is good enough for today. And if you have any questions, we can, discuss it in the Q&A. And then, of course, the beautiful quiz we all like. Okay, any questions? Yes?
Remember when you said like there's an angel in a book and like he stops recording as the football starts? What if you leave when it first starts? What?
Wow. So let me repeat that. The question is, it sounds like a trick question, but I'll repeat it. Question is, remember when I said that there's an angel that records the names of the people who come early? The question is, what if somebody comes early, so he got his name on the book, and then he gets up and leaves after the khutbah starts? Clever. Well, it depends. If you do that on purpose, then obviously it doesn't count. Because in that case, even if your name is on the book, your prayer is invalid because you missed it. Right? Simple. Because you did it on purpose. But if something happens, like you had an emergency, somebody called you and said, hey, somebody is sick or had an accident and you have to leave. There are all kinds of emergencies. In that case, of course, you could leave and the salat will count. you get the same reward and everything. Because it was not up to you. Something happened beyond your capacity. Like one time in this masjid, I don't know how many of you were here, but in the khutbah, there was a fire and some of us had to leave. How many of you were here? You were here? You? And you, okay. So that happens sometimes, right? And all of us got the same reward because it was beyond our ability. All right? Make sense? Any other questions? Any other questions? Do you have any questions? No? All clear? Okay.